Understanding your money, which is, of course, what I love to talk about, is as big a skill as you're going to need, because as big as the other ones. Because sometimes we feel we need a new job, or we feel we, need to learn these skills because we want to earn more money. But sometimes we don't know enough about what we're doing money-wise to even know whether what we currently are making could work better than it is, or whether we really need more money, and if we need to earn more money, how much that would be. Your relationship with money matters. I'm Michelle Perkins, and this is the Money and You podcast, where I will be breaking down your relationship with money, offering tough love money tips, and a money dating plan that will focus on lifting the barriers to success to help pave the way for better money practices and increased wealth. It's time to take control to live a limit-free life. It starts today. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Money and You Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. Super excited to be here today to talk to you about what skills can you develop or learn or, use more of to help future-proof yourself? So the world is changing, clearly. And I'm going to do a little solo show today just to help you think a little bit about what you want to have in your toolbox going forward. So as the world changes, you're changing with it, and you're still marketable, and actually more than being marketable, maybe you can generate more money in the workplace than you ever have. So, we talk about money on this show, and we talk about how you feel about money and your beliefs around money, your relationship with money, and also practical things about money, because the two totally go hand in hand. And I'm hoping that's where I differentiate myself a little bit from others talking about money, because it is really a two-part deal. It is understanding yourself and your relationship with money, and it's understanding the practical things that you can do. And thirdly, to realize that none of it is set in stone. You can accommodate your own personality, your own lifestyle, your own choices into this whole mix. So it's not a formula. It's not one size fits all. Money is really something that I think of it more as a work of art. You create your financial life the same way you would, creating your home. You put in there what works for you. You make it livable and lovable. And so that's what I want you to be able to do with money. I don't think we typically think about money that way. And I definitely don't think you can sit on the sofa and just, believe yourself into making more money. I mean, I kind of do believe that a little bit, but you can't do it without taking any action. I do think you need the beliefs, and you need to see yourself and visualize yourself in whatever place you want to be in, but you also have to make the phone calls, have to get out there, have to investigate companies and put the job applications out or whatever it is, or build that business. So there's the action piece and the mindset piece that go together. I was actually watching a little bit of golf, which golf isn't really my thing, but my son's super into it. We were watching golf, and it was a tournament where, the top players in the world are there. And you start thinking about it, and people were dropping out, and this one guy who has a really, he's done the psychological, spiritual work, and you can see it in his game, because everybody there, the skills are there for all of them. That's why they're there. They all have the skills. So then you figure it gets to a point where you can get to a maximum skill level. So how do you get that edge? How do you push yourself up to be the winner where everybody's got such great skills? And I really, truly believe it's mindset. And it's how stressed you get, or how much you believe you can do it, or, how you handle the difficulties. It's exactly the same with money. Learning the skills is not hard. Learning the skills is like learning skills in anything. You read about it, you study about it, you learn about it, you start playing with it, you make mistakes, the whole 9 yards. Building skills is building skills. But you can get to a point where you have the skills, and what is going to actually take you to that next level where your wealth building is in a flow, and you're in a flow with it, and it's happening for you, and it's bigger than you thought it was going to be. All of that is mindset, and you're able to stay calm when markets drop, or jobs are lost, or whatever, and you're able to see a vision for yourself that goes beyond the immediate challenges. So I'm always trying to help people see money differently, because I think that changes the game. And so when you see it not as this thing to fear, but something that is your ally in this life, your support system. So that's kind of that's a speech I give a lot, and I can't help myself, because I'm really dedicated to helping people to see things this way, because I think a lot of our problems as a society is that, money is something people avoid, they're afraid of, or they just plain old think the whole deal is for somebody else, not me. And so I really want everybody to feel like it can be for you, and you can make it a fairer, more just kind of system with more knowledge of both yourself and financial, systems and financial practicalities. So, okay, that said, today what I really want to talk about is the skills that you can really, the skills that will help you to move yourself forward, both now in 2024 and forward, because we all know that things are changing, but things are always changing. I mean, there's never been a time when job skills, are static. So we can forget about that. They're just changing a little bit faster right now, I think, and in ways that seem a little more complex, maybe, than they have in the past. So I was doing a little research for this, thinking that I was going to do this show, and I read an article in themuse.com, which if you are a job searcher, job transitioner, even thinking about making a job transition, I highly recommend themuse.com. Something that I was doing career coaching when the Muse started, and I found it at that time, and I've loved it ever since. I don't think they've only gotten better, and it is a great resource for articles, education. They do have some career coaches. I have nothing to do with them. I just think they're great, and I think they're enormously helpful. So that's something that you can subscribe to if you are looking for jobs, or even thinking someday you might want to look for a new job. And one of the articles they had was something on exactly this, upgrading your skills and what's important, what skills are really important coming up. And some of them are not what we think, but one is what we think. The first one I'm going to talk about is actually on artificial intelligence. And so that might be super interesting to you, and you might want to really dig deep and go into the computer science field and learn AI on a much more technical level. But I think even for people, that is going to be a huge part of work life for most everybody, for almost every industry, in one way or another. And it might be that it's just in the marketing aspect of a career or of an industry. Can't talk. But I really think that knowing something about it, I was recently talking about something that was, we can all talk about the scary parts of AI. I mean, everybody's thinking about that all the time. And my husband made a comment about, oh yeah, that's why I don't want to know anything about it, because, there's all these negatives to it. And I thought, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, that's exactly why you should know about it, so that you know what it's doing out there, and both in the good and bad ways. So you can be part of it, even if there are negative things. We don't want to just stick our head in the sand. That's what we always talk about with money as well. So AI comes into play in many ways, and even knowing the tools that where you can use AI as a tool for different jobs. So maybe you're getting into, copywriting is such an easy example, but there are ways that you can use AI in a job as a copywriter to assist you. And there are people who are doing coding. There are ways to use AI to assist. They're already doing it, so that's not news. But AI can be used maybe you're not using it as your job. Maybe you're not going into it as a profession, but you can use it to support and help whatever job you're interested in. So that is a skill. To be able to even use it to assist in what you're doing is a huge skill set that you want to learn and you want to be able to bring to the table and talk about how you would use it. Guess what? It's going to save time for you and your employer. It's like having an assistant and you're using AI to help you. So that frees you up to do more of the things that really only you can do. So think of it that way and really kind of try to dig in and see what is out there for you. There are new keywords that relate to AI that you'll want to learn. So the applicant tracking systems, can be seeing that in your applications and in your resumes. So that's a big one. Another one that the Muse talked about was sustainability being a really big field for the future. And, all the skills that you can acquire out there, it's a growing, expanding list of things that people can get into in the world of sustainability. It's been around for a very long time, but there hasn't been as much demand. That demand is increasing and in new ways. So that's a great area to research too, because those are unique skills. And I'm not going to go through and talk about the specifics of those skills, but that's a great area to be looking into and to see what can I learn in the area of sustainability if it's interesting to you. You definitely want to be leaning into whatever your particular interests are. They were talking also about the skills within social media. Social media, as a business owner, I do not have social media skills. I know I need them. I'm always looking for professionals to help. And honestly, that's hard. There are many, many professionals offering to help you with social media skills. And one of the things that the Muse brought up was many of them are generalists. Many of them are not specifically saying, I can help you with your TikTok. I can help you specifically with LinkedIn. Some are, but, and as a user of these services, it's just plain old confusing. So if you are someone interested in developing skills in social media, that is a huge, wide open, great area to get into because it's needed by large and small companies and even individuals. It's great for your brand development, even if you are a professional and not an entrepreneur. So social media skills are big and important coming up and will continue to be. I think for a little while, everybody sort of wondered if it was going to stick around. I think we know the answer to that at this point. Another skill that the Muse brought up that I really thought was interesting is a less hard skill, more of a soft skill, and it was empathy. And being seen as an I never know whether it's empathic or empathetic. Should have looked that up before I talked about it. But a person with empathy is going to come across that way, or should, if you have that skill already, try to come across that way, both in your cover letters, in your interviews, in your storytelling about what you've done in the past. Really important to show that you have empathy. And you might be thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Nobody in a job cares. They just want the job done. But the jobs get done faster and better by people who have that skill. It's very similar to communication skills. They are very important. And when you're dealing with teams and with people and with bosses and with clients, you absolutely are going to be a better, you're better at whatever it is that you do with the skills of empathy and also really good communication. Those are actually some of the most important jobs. I mean, not showing empathy, if that comes across in an interview or in a cover letter, you're probably not going to make it into the job anyway. There's an energetic thing that happens. I used to talk about this a lot with clients. The energy that you have, for example, in written communication, but especially in an interview, that is as important as what you're saying, because people feel your energy and you feel their energy. And when there's an energetic match, when you kind of feel like you're clicking energetically, it does wonders. Whatever you're saying is kind of, it's already being seen as something that they can connect with if the two of you are connecting energetically. So I can't emphasize the importance of showing up in an interview or, in person when you're speaking to people in the right energy and in an energy that aligns with their energy. So that's another whole topic I didn't even plan to get into, but I think it speaks to the importance of empathy and good communication, because you can feel that that helps you to have that energetic connection. Another one that the Muse brought up was copywriters, which is a primary skill, obviously, for copywriters. But again, it really speaks to the communication skills. So whether that's in writing or whether that is in speaking to people, it's so important. And one of the things, back to AI, that is coming up a lot is we're all seeing AI-generated copy. And you can tell a lot of the times that it is AI generated. I actually get my podcast show notes now. That's kind of a little new thing we're trying. And it's AI generated copy for the show notes. I probably spend as much time fixing it as it used to take me to write it myself, to be honest, because it doesn't sound like me and it puts weird words in weird places. And so it's great to be using AI as an assist, but if you still need to know how to write so that you can make it sound like it's actually interesting and human and maybe has empathy. So that is a really important skill still, and always, I think, will be, to be able to write well and to be able to interject yourself into that copy. And then the other one that I thought was interesting that they brought up was skills. Well, and this has been a conversation for so long, but there are so many kind of trades, skills that are related to trades that are so important and will continue to be important. So if you have an interest in, and I would say anything from fashion to plumbing to electrical to, all of these things. The list is so long and we don't talk about it very much. These are really important skills. There will always be a need for people in construction and people who will, be able to fix your electrical panels and all of that. So just and all of that's changing. The skills are different now. Electricians are coming in and setting up your chargers for your cars. And so it's an ongoing thing where those trades are changing too, as rapidly as anything else. And it's still a great area for people to get into. So I think maybe I'm a minority here, but I think the future of work is really bright. I think it's going to be different. And I think there are going to be amazing ways to make a living, but you will have to upgrade your skills. You will have to be open to new things. You will have to be seeing what is kind of going to go by the wayside and what's coming up. It's not any different than it's always been. As somebody with a career, you want to be on top of what's happening. And companies have to be on top of we all have to be on top of what's happening so that we can ride the wave of change and not get left behind. So think about that. And as a final mention here, this was not in the Muse, this is me, understanding your money, which is, of course, what I love to talk about, is as big a skill as you're going to need, because as big as the other ones, because sometimes we feel we need a new job or we feel we, need to learn these skills because we want to earn more money. But sometimes we don't know enough about what we're doing money-wise to even know whether what we currently are making could work better than it is, or whether we really need more money. And if we need to earn more money, how much that would be. And so I teach people how to date their money. I teach them how to spend time with it and what to do on these money dates that I always tell people they should have on their calendar. And the reason I'm doing that is so that you get a super crystal clear understanding of where you are with your money, what you know and don't know, how much time you're spending with it, and what you're doing when you spend time with money to make sure that those are actions that are going to move the needle and help you to understand all of these things, including how much you really need to make to meet your money goals, because a lot of people don't even have money goals and they're just kind of trying to make it on what they're earning. And when they feel like they can't make it on what they're earning, they feel like they need to run and get a different job or start a business or whatever. And it's not always true. Sometimes it's really a function of just not knowing the financial side of their lives well enough. So that's what I especially love to help people with in my coaching and in my Money Date program. And I know that people come out of that having such a better understanding that they do different things and they take different jobs. And sometimes they realize that they can do just fine if they move into the area of their dreams versus working at this job that they've hated. So there's so much that goes into it and it becomes really fascinating. So upgrading your skills also includes upgrading your money skills and your financial skills and your understanding of your financial situation, how to make more money, how to earn more money, how to earn money in ways that maybe are not related to work. So for more information on that, you can always reach out to me, Michelle at limitfreelife.com. I have a lot of information. You can sign up for my newsletter and I'll be providing information on all of this on a regular basis. And please listen to the Money and You podcast. And before the Money and You podcast, there was the Limit Free Life podcast, which has over 2 years worth of weekly podcasts, many of which are about career change or becoming an entrepreneur. So there's a huge library of resources there that you can dig into and learn more on these topics. So anyway, thanks so much for being here today. We love having you listen to the Money and You show. And thank you, UBN Go, for broadcasting the show. And we'll see you next week.